Hey y'all, and good now, whenever and wherever this finds you. Welcome to today's episode of Pontification by TC. Today I have a special opportunity. My latest joy was to make snippets out of an interview that a radio station did with Jimmy Dore. And they had a Zoom of all four of them together. And so for me, it was to take snippets, and I had a really great time. And so I want to share some of those with you now. This snippet is asking Jimmy to end this on a positive note.
Jimmy, let's end on some kind of optimistic note. Do you think that it's better to get involved in your local politics than worrying about state and federal things like your local mayors or city councils or neighborhood councils and things like that? Because then you can actually kind of, instead of just being on screen, go to some kind of meeting that's in person and things like that? Or do you think that we'll just end up with more of the same no matter what we do?
No, I think it's important that people like-minded people get involved, and especially on the local level. I think that's where you can make the most difference. And I encourage that for sure, 100%. I think that people doing direct action, people doing local aid, things like that. It's just stunning the amount of money that this country wastes, right? That $5 trillion CARES Act that every Democrat, including Bernie Sanders and AOC, voted for, which was the largest upward transfer of wealth in the history of humankind. And every progressive Democrat voted for it. And they said they had to do it because they had to get unemployment to people. I think the positive note to end on is it did happen on Staten Island. Bobby Kennedy is polling 46% of Democrats have a positive feeling about him. So I think people are open to a message that I'm, to my message. I think that's why my show is popular, and I go anywhere I go in the country, and including overseas. That people are hungry for this message. People are tired of hating their neighbor and blaming their neighbor for their problems, but that's what they want, and that's what they've got us in. It's worse than silos. It's cults. And they, everybody talks about QAnon as a conspiracy cult. Well, Russiagate was an even bigger and an even dumber one. And everybody ran around screaming about it for 5 years at the top of their lungs. Even after Mueller said there was nothing, there was no collusion, conspiracy, or anything, they keep doing it. So I think that's the positive thing is that, honestly, it does make me feel good to see shows like yours. It does make me feel good to know my show's popular, past 1 million subscribers. It gets around 15 to 19 million views a month. And I think that's all. I keep connecting with people who are on the right, who are of goodwill. And because, I remember I grew up when it used to be okay. When I started comedy, people used to do gay jokes. They used to do gay jokes on television, making fun of gay people. Like that was, and I never understood why anybody gave a shit about gay people or what they did. I don't like, why do you care? And so the way gay people so quickly became I don't know, like the discrimination got less was because they didn't cancel people. What they did was they engaged them. And the more you engage with people, and the more they see you're not the caricature that they think you are. And I remember there was a whole campaign about gay people are your favorite basketball coach, your favorite history teacher. Gay people are this, we're your butcher. That was to let people know, hey, we're not. And it wasn't like, hey, you're an asshole if you don't like gay people, we're canceling you. That's the opposite. That's what I call bad political outreach, And so now we're in the era of bad political outreach, that instead of trying to convince people and sway men's hearts and minds, we try to shame people and cancel them and get you kicked out of some kind of cult and take away your source of revenue and all. It's the most toxic, ridiculous thing. And that's because the Democrats and the Republicans have both turned their backs on the working class. So all they have left to talk about is cultural issues. And that's why we're fighting about trans issues and bathrooms and all that stuff, because both of them turned their backs on workers. And none of them want to talk. None of them are talking about anything that give. They're all raising the retirement age. They're not talking about lowering it. They're not talking about. All right. So anyway, so that's so I think it's good. People are waking up to that, and we have to don't let the corporate media hate a bunch of truckers who, by the way, were vaccinated at a higher rate than the general population in Canada. They don't ever tell you that, and they weren't protesting medicine. They were protesting bullshit authoritarianism, and they were right, and they were called every name in the book. So that's the play. So I hope people understand the playbook. Go to my Wikipedia page. You'll see what they do to people who speak out against the war machine and against the two-party duopoly. That's so get ready for that game, and they're going to do it to Robert RFK Jr. Of course, they've already done it, right? And they're going to do it even harder now. So, but I think people are seeing through it, and corporate media approval ratings are lower than politicians, I think, at this point. So that's the positive.
I just love Jimmy Dore and the way he talks with such passion and righteous indignation. And I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you down the road.